Welcome everyone to the first round of the playoffs, aka week 15, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. It is the first round of the playoffs. It's been a long time coming. It's been a good season, guys. Hell of a crazy season, especially the last couple weeks here. And yeah, cheers to everyone who made the playoffs. And cheers to everyone who got fucking eliminated last week. And cheers to the Bunny Bangers and the Wise Guys who got eliminated like 4 weeks ago. Let's get into it. Well, as you can see, the standings, we already kind of know what they are, right? The Finesse and the Smeagol's clinched their respective divisions and a first round bye. The Quailmen are the only team that came out of the Central, kind of just like we predicted at the beginning of the season, that only one would make it. The winner, basically winner takes all, everyone else is out type of thing. The other teams did have a chance. I think even if the Trolls had won, they had a slight chance over the Heaters, but the Heaters scored so much that even if the Trolls would have won by a pretty healthy margin, they still probably would have been eliminated, in the playoffs because the Quailmen and the Heaters went fucking ape shit last week, and they said, we want our ticket, and we want them now. And they went and took it. The Smeagol's looking a little rough. We'll talk about them in a second. Smeagol's clinched at 8-6, only one game above everybody else in the East. The Quailmen clinched, tied with Rico, but Rico didn't score enough points this season, so he's out. And the Finesse got the bye, tied with Joe, but they scored, I think, only 20 points. So it was only a 20-point clinch for the Finesse. So very close there at the end. And he is rewarded with a bye this week, which it may not really matter because, I mean, his team's kind of going off this week. But who cares about Finesse or the Smeagol's this week? Let's get into the power rankings. Power rankings are pretty simple. You can probably guess who's in the bottom 6 and the top 6 based on standings, and that's kind of what I did here. Coming in at number 12, you got the Wisconsin Bunny Bangers. They're fucking trash. They have a bye this week because they're so bad. But hopefully, maybe they can win out in the consolation bracket and get the number 1 overall pick. The same goes for this next team, the Washington Wise Guys. They are also garbage. Not as garbage as the Bunny Bangers. They're garbage. Really unlucky. DK Metcalf is just, what the fuck is going on in Seattle and in Washington, I guess you would say. Very, very weird. But this team needs some definite help. But again, they got a top 4 pick. If they can win just one game, the first game in the consolation bracket, they get a top 2 pick. So that'll really help this team out, especially in all the close games that they had this season. This may be the team that goes from 2-12 to fucking 8-6 or 9-5 or even 10-4 next season because they had so many close games. All they need is one guy to step up. And maybe they get that in the draft this coming off season. Coming in at number 10, you got the former champ and now out of the playoffs, the Long Island Rune Dogs. It's all good job, Mandy, last year. And again, like I said last week, I hope you're holding on to that belt real tight because it's not yours anymore. Well, it's still yours, but it's not going to be yours after the playoffs. And it's going to be interesting. There's a real good chance that this belt has to be sent out of South Carolina. I'm not talking about me either. So we'll see what happens. Coming in at number 9, you got the Tampa Bay Tiger Sharks. They did all they could to try and get the playoff spot. They got the win that they needed, but they didn't get the help that they needed. The Quailmen just donkey fucked everybody at the end there, which is weird to say. And Again, this is 2 years in a row where the Tiger Sharks have come up short for the playoffs by less than a game. I mean, this has got to be heartbreaking for this franchise. They moved, they changed names, they changed color schemes, they changed everything, and now they're on the outside looking in yet again. But they may be one of the strongest teams in the consolation bracket, so they have a very good chance of getting the number one overall pick. We'll see what happens down in Tampa in the meantime. Coming in at number 8, you got the Columbia Dumpster Fire, soon to be the some things, I don't know yet, soon to be something else. This team has been trash, on fire, literally, for 3 straight years. Can't stay healthy, can't get it together. Coach is too preoccupied with betting and other shit. But I'm hearing that the coach is going to get his shit together. He's going to go sober on betting, not sober. I mean, come on, really? And they're gonna hop, skip it, and jump away from Columbia or something. They're gonna change their name. Maybe they'll get better. Who fucking knows? They have a good chance of getting the number 1 overall pick in the consolation bracket as well. Coming in at number 7, the top team left that did not get in, the last one out. Not technically, but skill-wise, the Trentham Trolls. I feel like I can't really put the loss or anything on the bye week because they did have Jonathan Taylor on a bye on their most important game of the season to clinch. But that bye could have come at any time, so you can't really make an argument there, but you kind of can, because when this team needed Jonathan Taylor the most, he just didn't even show up for the game, and they missed the playoffs because of it. And the Trolls, again, new team. Hopefully they can rebuild in the draft, see what they can do next year. But let's get on to the real teams, guys. The playoff teams. Coming in at number 6, dropping way down. I had to do it. You got the Philadelphia Smeagol's. These guys, they're 8-6. They won the East. They got a bye. But, man, they are limping into the playoffs. They have not looked good the last 2 weeks, taken 2 straight losses. I mean, maybe they need the bye for the rest to get their team back together. Maybe they can take them all out to fucking Chuck E. Cheese or some shit and get some team corral. I don't fucking know. This team has got to step it up or they're going to get bounced after the bye by either the Heaters or the Quailmen, whomever win that matchup, because both of those teams are fucking scary. And this team does not look scary right now. They look very, very mediocre. And I had to drop them down after the second straight loss. Yes, they won the East, but I don't know. Right now, they don't look capable of winning that championship. But P-Man's done it before. He can rally his guys. We'll see what happens. Coming in at number 5, the winner of the Central, the French Quarter Quailmen. Whoa. This fucking team, like, we thought Dan was crazy, giving away all these picks, doing all this crazy shit. I mean, it's still crazy. But he's got 4 top 5 picks. 4 of them. And basically all of them have started almost every game for him. And they are the reason that he is even in the playoffs. If he only had, say, 1, 2, or even maybe 3 of those picks, I don't think Dan would be here. But all of those picks have paid off. He's in the playoffs now. He won his division. He's in the, I guess, wild card spot. Not really, but, and they look scary. They're starting to heat up right at the right time. Again, this is just like Mandy last year, starting to heat up. And we'll see what this team can do. I'm a bit afraid of them, but I'm not on that side, so I don't have to worry about it for a few weeks, and that's even if I win. So whatever. Coming in at number 4, dropping down a spot. You got the SC Titans Elite. Took a loss last week, could not clinch the West, and now they have to play the Voyagers in back-to-back weeks, and that's tough to do. Yeah, Joe says, it's tough to beat a team 3 times in a season, tough to beat them back-to-back weeks, but we'll see what happens because we'll get into it later, but man, I don't know. Titans elite. Joe, you can get mad at the rankings all you want, but you lost, so I'm dropping you. Coming in at number 3, coming way up, looking scary, looking hot. You got the Hickory Grove Heaters. Very weird, this team. I guess they kind of live or die by Kyler Murray. And, start of the season, fucking red hot, right? And then Nate called him out, and they just dropped like 5 out of 6 games or something crazy. But then the last few weeks, Heaters been coming back up and just put up a crazy amount of points last week. This team looks good, ready to roll, pretty healthy as well going into the playoffs, but they have a tough matchup. The Quailmen, get into that later. Coming in at number 2, dropping down 1 spot, you got the Vietnam Voyagers. Got the win last week, but it didn't really matter. It was just, whatever. But this team just got banged up. Nuke is out for the fantasy season, probably even the regular NFL season. A lot of guys are injured, a lot of guys coming off IR at the wrong times, and all kinds of crazy injuries are happening to this team, but injuries are everywhere. But for this team, they're all happening this week. So it's very, very strange. We're going to see what happens with this team come this week. And again, at number 1, moving right back up, you got the LA Finesse. I mean, every time I move them down, they go back up. And every time I move them up, they go back down. So this is my way of putting a little juju on the fucking process that if I win and I put E-Man in at number 1, he'll go back down and I'll win and he'll lose. That's the only thing I've got. That's the only thing I know. But here are your power rankings. Let's get into the consolation matchups. Matchup number 1 of the consolation bracket. You got the Columbia Dumpster Fire at 7-7 at the 6-8 Trentham Trolls. And again, in the consolation bracket, the worst team has home field advantage. Not that it really matters in fantasy, but you know what I mean. This is going to be... it was looking interesting, and then Donald Parham knocked himself out on like the 3rd play of the game and scored a goose egg for the Trolls at tight end. But he did get a 23 spot from Jonathan Taylor earlier today. And the flip side, though, Tyreek Hill put up almost 30, and his defensive back, Kenny Moore, put up 10 for the Dumpster Fire. So right now, it looks like the Dumpster Fire could be moving on to the next round of the consolation. And again, how it works in consolation, say there are 2 teams that lose in the first round. The worst team, based on record and then points as a tiebreaker, will get the better pick. Better pick, whatever. Okay? So if, say, the Dumpster Fire, if the Trolls lose, then they will get the number 5 pick in the draft, not the number 6, because the next matchup between the Tiger Sharks and the Rune Dogs, they're both 7-7, so they have a better record than the Trolls. So if the Trolls lose, they get the number 5, and then the loser of the other consolation, they get number 6, and then we move on from there. Okay, so we're building the draft from the middle out, basically. Matchup number 2. We got the Tampa Bay Tiger Sharks, 7-7, taking on the Long Island Rune Dogs, also at 7-7. This matchup, again, Mandy's team is just beat the hell up. And as it stands now, the Tiger Sharks put up 8 with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They put up 17 with Keenan Allen. Big game from him. While the Rune Dogs have only put up about 4.5 from their tight end, Jared Cook. And Mandy's team is... they're beat up. They got COVID. Lamar Jackson's questionable. Even her backup, Jalen Hurts, is questionable. her whole team is just so riddled with injuries. And this is one of those teams that if Mandy loses and gets a higher pick, well, if she wins, I guess that would be better for Mandy. But if the Room Dogs aren't terrible. They had a shit injury like all year, injuries, and they're still 7-7. So this team is not dead in the water or anything like that for next year. They could very well come back, stay healthy, and then run the fucking table. That's how good this team is. They're just injured. So we'll see what happens with this. But on to the real matchups. The first matchup of the actual fantasy football playoffs and also the rivalry game of the week. We got the 9-5 Vietnam Voyagers in a rematch from last week. But the only difference is they are at the 10-4 SC Titans Elite. And this matchup, now it looks really close. Austin Eckler put up 16.5 for the Voyagers. Michael Pittman only put up 1.5 points. He had some good looks, got 1 point basically, and then got ejected for what I would call bullshit, but NFL refs. Whatever, what can you do? So, and the rest of the Titans Elite have not played yet. And the Voyagers are only up by 17 out of 2 players, one of them being a running back and one of them being a wide receiver. So it's not looking good for the Voyagers at this moment. So it really comes down to, can the Buccaneers dominate the Saints later tonight or this morning or whatever? All right, this is going to be a tough matchup. Let's look at the Voyagers lineup. Quarterback. And again, there's no camera here, but whatever. Quarterback, we got Matt Stafford on fire as of late. Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, Justin friggin' Jefferson on fire. And I had to put the iceberg all up on Pittman because he's been dookie. It looks like they're going to start Darnell Mooney now out of desperation instead of KJ Osborne at their flex spot. They need a lot of points now to make up for Pittman's fuck-ups. They got Pat Freiermuth because Darren Waller is injured. You got the GOAT, Justin Tucker, TJ Watt, Eric Kendricks, and Kevin Byard, rounding out a fantastic defense and special teams. Let's take a look at the Titans Elite lineup. Woo! They got Tom Brady on fire and Leonard Fournette been killing it the last few weeks. Mike Singletary hasn't really done too much. I'm sorry, not Mike Singletary. Devin Singletary hasn't done too much the last few weeks. But this team has been, doing itself. Mike Evans, Josh Reynolds. Yeah, I got him in there right now. He's questionable. Devontae Freeman looking pretty solid. Zach Ertz, pretty solid. Then you got Old Suckup looking good. And then you got Aaron Donald, Cole Holcomb, and Carlton Davis, rounding out another good defense. So this may be a big defensive battle type game. Not low scoring. A high scoring defensive battle, if that makes sense. But again, best team's going to come out on top here, I think. And whoever can pick their squads correctly around their injuries. But we'll see. Let's get into the game of the week. Matchup number 2 in the playoffs. You got the Hickory Grove Heaters at 7-7, wild card, against the reigning Central champion French Quarter Quailmen, also at 7-7. And this is going to be, holy shit. We all think it's going to be a high-scoring matchup. As of now, it doesn't look too bad. But let's take a look at the lineups. Heaters. Hickory Grove Heaters got Kyler Murray at quarterback. They got Cordero Patterson. What a fantastic pickup or trade or whatever in the middle of the season he was. David Montgomery, been pretty solid. And then you got Cooper Kupp. Woo! #1 receiver in the league, most targets in the league, most receptions, most yards. I don't think he has the most touchdowns, but I'm not sure. I haven't checked it. He probably does. He's the #1 receiver in the league this year. Brandon Cooks is no slouch either. He's been pretty solid. Ramondre Stevenson has already played, only put up 3.5 points for the Heaters. Pretty shit outing there for Stevenson in his flex spot, but that's all right because he's got George fucking Kittle in his tight end spot, who has been crazy lately. And then he's got one of the best kickers in the game, Harrison Butker, already put up 8.5 points. He's got Casey Hayward, Bobby Wagner, and Minka the Stinka Fitzpatrick. Solid defense as well. Let's take a look at the Quailmen lineup. They've got Justin Herbert at quarterback, who already put up 23 points this week. And then, again, this team is just full of fantastic rookies. Rookie, Najee Harris. Fantastic. Rookie, Javonte Williams at running back. Fantastic. Stephon Diggs at wide receiver. Fantastic. Rookie, Jamar Chase at wide receiver. Fantastic. And then you got Mr. Dependable, Hunter Renfrow at flex. Just putting up he's just solid. I mean, 14, 14, 15, 15, just every week it seems. And he's just getting better and better it seems. And he may be the reason that this team goes all the way, or the reason that they don't go all the way. At tight end, they got Dallas Goedert. Kicker, they got Nick Folk, put up a 5 spot, whatever. And their defense is pretty good as well. They got Myles Garrett and C.J. Mosley in the front 7, but in that back, Logan Ryan's been kind of whatever of late this year. He's just, he's been injured a few games. He hasn't scored over 13.5 the entire season, and especially since week 1. So, yeah, he gets the icicles this week. But this is going to be a tough game. Winner goes on to play P-Man, while the winner of this matchup goes on to play E-Man. So the winners play one of the mans, E-Man or P-Man. They're looking on intently. Let's get into the predictions. Predictions! We got the consolation committee now. They're fucking doing it. They went 5-1 last week, and guess fucking what? We are over 500 on the season. We are 43-41 on picks. That's 51%. Fuck yeah. And I assume the consolation committee will keep making these picks throughout the playoffs. Their picks this week, the Finesse, Smeagol's, Wise Guys, and Bunny Bangers are on bye, so they're whatever. But their picks this week, they had the Trolls over the Dumpster Fire. They had the Tiger Sharks over the Room Dogs. They picked the Voyagers to take over the Titans Elite to take on E-Man. And they picked the Heaters to beat the Quailmen to go on and play the Smeagol's next week. Good job on the predictions this year, guys. Again, we finished with 51%. That's what I wanted, above 51. I will keep keeping track of the records and what you guys score. Well, the consolation committee, if you can see on the bottom right over here, that will be updated regularly for the consolation committee and what their record is throughout the playoffs, basically. All right, and on to golf. So, hole 18, last hole. That's it, guys. E-Man made a strong push at the end. Dan made a huge push there, but too little too late. We have a 3-way tie for second place with E-Man, P-Man, and Matt at 11 under par. But the winner and back-to-back champ in golf is me. And guess what, guys? I finished with 20 under par. Last year, I only finished with 12 under par. So do you know what that means? That is a... Oh, yeah. Woo! Goal Einstein 2 years in a row, baby. Woo! Good job, everybody, on golf. It's been a good season. I can't wait to come back to the U.S. this year Tebow and get my goal line stein. I'll be drinking out of it every video next year. And we'll see if anyone can win it next year. But great golf season, guys. And yeah, until next year. But one more thing. Congratulations to all you fuckers that didn't make the fucking playoffs. Tebow, Nate, Braden, Rico, Mandy, Hunter. Fucking trash. Get better next year. Draft better. Congratulations, guys. And hopefully you have some good luck in your consolation bracket to maybe get the #1 overall pick. But that's it for me. This shit's in 26 minutes. Good luck, guys. Good luck in the playoffs. We're coming up, what? When's Christmas? Are we less than a week? Less than a week until Christmas. So the next video will be after Christmas. So Merry Christmas to everyone. And yeah. And Happy New Year. That'll be next year. But happy holidays and all that shit, guys. Good luck.